Hello, and welcome to Storytime with Disdonn. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storytime with Disdonn. Now, this time, I'm going to do a little bit of something different. See, I just finished playing my first stream of Alan Wake, and it reminded me of a story that I probably should say on Storytime with Disdonn. Now, this story takes me back almost 10 years now. Back to 2008, when I was working temporarily for the security firm that handled the Metrodome and TCF Stadium for Vikings football and the Minnesota Golden Gophers for their home game security and ticket taking. So I worked pretty much every other weekend, it seemed like, for about 4 to 5 hours a day. So like 8 hours a week, roughly. And because I was unemployed throughout most of my entirety of college, I was able to get on Minnesota's medical assistance to help cover my therapist appointments, my shrink appointments, etc., etc. So, and this was all stemming because I had a psychotic suicidal episode back in 2005 that had me in a psych ward for about 4 or 5 days. But this job caused me to lose my insurance because they took it as me needing to reapply, even though I didn't have a lot of hours. So, I was on some very interesting medications at the time. I was on Seroquel, Wellbutrin, and can't remember the other one. All I know is it was not a very good combination to begin with. But they had me on 3 meds, and the Seroquel was basically an antipsychotic because I was having issues with PTSD, stemming from many surgeries and child abuse and stuff. Well, childhood abuse, not like my mom didn't beat my ass. Other things happened that I will probably not get into, but basically what happened was I lost my insurance. My psychiatrist was unable to see me then and canceled all my future appointments because I no longer was insured, and essentially told me, well, what medication you have right now, you're basically screwed as soon as it's out. So you're going to have to wean yourself off of it. And I'm just like, but the prescription ends tomorrow. Like, literally, I've got 1 or 2 days left. It's like, well, you're fucked. And, well, I was fucked because funny thing about going off your medication without weaning yourself off in any way, shape, or form. Some of those medications have pretty nasty side effects if you cut them cold turkey. Particularly, I was in a very bad place for a very long time. About a month, actually. It was early October. The football season had started back in August, and I had to basically quit that job, which caused me to lose my insurance since I could not leave my room. I couldn't leave my dorm room for that whole month, pretty much. I attempted to stay on top of my homework by, I did call the school and let them know what the hell was happening. Well, not entirely what was happening, but let them know that something was going on where I wouldn't be making it to class. And so they basically emailed me all of my assignments. Thankfully, it was just a bunch of longer animation and 3D modeling stuff. So I tried to do as much as I could while I was temporarily sane during the day. And I had quite a few lovely incidents happen. I will go through a few of them here. So these medications that I was taken off of, they caused me to have a lot of hallucinations. And by hallucinations, I don't just mean visual, I also mean auditory. I had heard quite a few things when I was alone in my room. During the day, at night, if the television was on or off, I would sometimes hear voices. Voices that were not there, that were not necessarily even human voices. And it just seemed like I was being assaulted in all of my senses. I felt things, I saw things, I heard things, and it was a nightmare. Waking nightmare where I barely was able to sleep for a month. Like, I'd get an hour nap in here, 2 hours there. It was horrifying. And I remember a lot of it very vividly. I actually was working at one point in time on a Silent Hill-esque novel that was based on my experiences. I have one of my animations on my animation stuff in the channel where the figure attacks, the reflection attacks the person. Well, that happened to me. I saw something like that happen and fought with my reflection while I was insane. And it didn't just happen with an actual mirror. I used to have a very reflective, almost like a mirror-like surface, sterling silver, large cross where you could, like, it reflected almost perfectly. And there was one day where I was working on a couple sketches for one of my projects when I was lucid. And my lucidity kind of waned. The walls began to peel off and bleed almost as if it was me being transported between the worlds in Silent Hill. And my reflection in the cross, which I had on the nightstand, started to flicker in a way where there wasn't any weird lighting. Nothing in my room was causing it to, change the lighting. So it had weird lens flary thing that I saw. So I grabbed it and I looked at it, and then I started freaking out because my reflection was literally fucking crawling out of the cross at me. Yeah. Go to sleep tonight thinking about that one. But essentially the whole withdrawal phase, because I'd been on these meds since I was in middle school, basically. So I'd been on the medication since about age 10 or 12, I guess. This was 2008, so I was 21, 22. And so we're talking, I was on those medications for 10 to 12 years at that point. And all of a sudden, I'm off them. Medications that's been in my system consistently for 12 years. So it was like being a heroin addict and then suddenly going cold turkey. I probably should have checked myself into an psych ward for that month. But as I said before, I had no insurance, so how could I have fucking afford it? But there was also instances where weird creatures would come at me out of the walls. I don't have the image with me right now. I may upload or link to it on a Tumblr page or something at a later date with this in the description. But I drew a few things that were things I saw in my bedroom. And this whole situation carried out for a month, off and on, where I'd have a couple of good days where nothing would happen, and then I'd have a fucking 3, 4, 5 day stint where it was reflection attacking me, hearing voices, walls melting, creatures coming out of the walls, just really fucking terrible shit happening. And I lived through it. I didn't eat a lot. I didn't sleep a lot. I had a lot of problems for that month. I basically failed out of all of my classes for that term. And then after that, the economy tanked and I lost my a lot of my financial aid and was unable to continue going to school, which I found out was a sham later anyway. So why the hell did I endure all this? I don't know. Maybe God likes to watch me suffer. Probably is the truth. But that experience molded my psyche to know that there's a lot of things that can go wrong in a person if they're not getting things they need. Like if they're prescribed medication and they lack that medication, be it antipsychotics, antidepressants, things can go bad. Mine was more of a very extreme case of extreme badness. I am very lucky to have made it through without fucking killing myself or going to jail or whatever, but it was very bad. It was very, very bad. And playing Alan Wake reminded me that I needed to do this as a story time with Disdonn episode. And that is simply because this is probably the strangest part of my life. The strangest thing. The most crazy thing that has ever happened to me. And it is just a miracle that I have survived. So this has been Storytime with Disdonn. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Like, comment, and subscribe below. And I will see you in the next video. This has been Storytime with Disdonn.